Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at very spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Antebellum, a movie that was going to come out in 2020. Kind of did, but we're finally catching it on Hulu in February of 2021, and we are eager to talk about it here on the show. Joining me tonight is the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Keeping my little toes toasty from the negative degrees.
I didn't know where you were going.
Here we go with the weather report
again. I can't stop myself.
No, I like it.
Toasty toes. That's what
makes you feel better.
Oh no! All right. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm great. I wish it was a little bit colder here. Honestly, I'll take some of that, Jeff. Like, just bring it.
Bring some cold.
It's like in the 50s and it's hot to me.
It doesn't feel like February weather here. I think it will be soon, but it doesn't feel like it today for sure.
Minus 13. I don't think you know what.
No, not that cold. Not that cold. All right, joining us is our special guest host all the way over from H&R, podcasting Rockstar and international cosplay queen, Vanessa Thompson. How you doing, Vanessa?
Hi, good. Glad to be back and joining you guys again. I missed y'all.
Yeah, we're here for the beginning of this. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We have.
I like that lucky cat too. I'm like, is that gonna bring me some luck?
Yes,
it's checking out all the background.
It's checking out.
People are gonna get lost in the background.
I can't stop.
Well, we definitely wanted to have you on board for this one because when we did the most anticipated films of 2020 back over a year ago on H&R, this was your top. This was the one you were looking forward to the most, and well, it just didn't happen. It didn't happen good. COVID threw everything out of whack. Most of the things. Yeah. Matter of fact, we didn't even do an anticipated this year because, well, it was the same as last year. The same films that haven't come out. Maybe a handful, but the rest of them are still coming. So, but we are so glad you are here to help us discuss Antebellum.
Me too.
I hope it lived up to your expectations.
We'll have to see.
We'll find out shortly. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to review the film. We're going to give our first impressions. Then we're going to chat about it a little bit. I imagine we're going to get into spoilers. We're going to try not to, but we probably will. It's going to be hard not to with this particular film. And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But let's take a quick peek at the film we're looking at tonight. Antebellum. 2020 film is available on Hulu beginning February 5th, 2021. Director and writers are Gerard and Christopher Renz. The cast includes Janelle, Monáe, Eric Lange, Jena, Malone, Jack Huston. I always thought it was Huston and wondered where the O went. But maybe it's Huston. I don't know.
No, it's Houston. It's Houston.
It is Houston.
He's one of the Houstons. He's like John Huston's grandson.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay.
There you go. So I was always wondering where the O was, but that's me. All right. Anyway, back to this synopsis. Successful author Veronica Henley finds herself trapped in a horrifying reality and must uncover the mind-bending mystery before it's too late. Yes, that's the summary, and it's actually pretty good for this one. All right, so let's start off. Let's let our guest go first. Give us your first impression of Antebellum.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a wow kind of movie for different reasons. You know, as I described this, after I saw this, I told everybody about it, and I described it as painful, but worth it, if that makes sense. So it's not. This isn't a fun movie per se, but that doesn't mean it's a bad movie, and it doesn't mean it's not enthralling. You know, it's not fun in the way that a thriller is not fun, but it's still enthralling, and this carries that with it the entire time. I found myself questioning so many times what was actually happening. You know, I had so many different theories in my head as to what could actually be happening, ranging from, you know, all the way from something Lovecraftian down to, you know, the most base things that we kind of see. So yeah, I was super impressed. Kind of caught off guard a little bit because there is some humor in this, but I kind of expected it to lean maybe more in the Us kind of field, Get Out, because it's coming from the producer that worked on those films. But this takes a slightly different turn, and it makes you feel things really deeply. And it's so worth feeling those things deeply in the beginning to then go and feel what you feel at the end so very deeply. So yeah, I to answer your question, it in no way disappointed me from the expectations I had originally.
Perfect. It's going to be a fun discussion. All right, up next is Jeff Mohr. Jeff, what was your first impression of Antebellum?
Well, I think it's even that much more impressive because it's this writer-director duo that it's their first feature, as far as I could tell. They've done lots of shorts. And the acting, I thought, what is her name? Janelle Monáe. I'm not a modern culture type guy, but this woman has had an incredible career in a short period of time in acting. It had key parts in Hidden Figures and what was the Moonlight, which came out the same year, which is pretty impressive. And she was in, I don't know if anybody's seen this, Electric Dreams. It's a series that was on Amazon, Philip K. Dick stories. That is a very good science fiction anthology series. So anyway, I've seen her before, and she is really good. I thought she really plays that persona really well. I enjoyed this a lot. I guess, it took a while to really have a tight handle on what was going on, although there's a reveal fairly quickly. So I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give too much away. So I'll stop there, but I enjoyed it a lot. And it actually, considering the times, it hits home on a lot of things too.
Yeah, it certainly has a lot to say, doesn't it? Yes. All right, Crystal, what is your first impression of Antebellum? Oh, she's frozen. No. She's frozen. Everybody enjoy Frozen Queen. All right, we'll get back to her shortly.
The living dead girl, as you
my gosh, we'll get back with her shortly. Oh my gosh, that's so strange. All right, so for me, I was really intrigued with this film. It caught me really quickly. The structure is very interesting. I love the structure of this film because it's not exactly as linear as you might think, and you might not think it was going to be based on the trailer, but it wasn't as scattered as I was anticipating it going to be either. So I really had a fun time with it. There are some really powerful scenes in this particular film that what'd you say, it was like kind of hard to watch, and that really is true. There are a few scenes in here that just are you just like a gut punch. There's from the beginning scene to some of our other cast members that have unfortunate endings to, as you expect in a film like this. And you might think, is this a horror film for a good portion of it? But it definitely is by the time it wraps up. And performances all around are fantastic. However, this is where I'm going to get in trouble. However, I don't think the ending of it really satisfied me in the way I wanted to. And I mean the very ending, just the very, very ending. I mean, leading up to it was great, but the very ending didn't really satisfy me. I think I might have wanted something just a little bit more of a punch. Oh, so Crystal may be back. She might not be. Let's find out. Crystal, can you hear us? All right.
God, yes, I hope it stays. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. But, okay, I'm going to try to get this out, so just in case. Okay, so the acting is on a whole nother level. I think everyone did a phenomenal job. I mean, the people you were supposed to hate, you absolutely hated. The people you cared for, you cared for. The friendships were so believable in both sides. You know, you believe that they cared about.
Yes.
I was not surprised by anything in this movie, though. I knew exactly what was happening the whole time. It's pretty obvious. Between the synopsis and the trailer, I mean, I said this on the trailer like last year. I was like, it's time displacement of some sort, and it's obvious that that's what it is. And it kind of is in that same way. I mean, and there's a ton of clues, but I don't want to give too much away. But yeah.
I was going to say, is it fair that the last third of the film, it doesn't matter?
Well, you mean as far as like what exactly is going on? Well, there's so much going on. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think
the mystery part.
Even though I knew what was happening, it didn't affect the movie at all because the subject matter is very compelling, and really the mystery part of it is irrelevant to that. Honestly, it's just it could be this movie on its own. Without everything that's going on, because obviously this is such it's a very difficult subject matter, and I have to say that I have a hard time watching movies like this, but I'm thankful that they went far with it, but not so far as to sometimes I just have to turn things like this off. So they went far, but I think they didn't go as far as the atrocities, ultimately were. So on some level, I really appreciate that because I don't think I could handle it much. But yeah, it's a beautiful movie. I mean, it's got some amazing shots. I think the costuming was amazing. I think that the story is a little crazy, a little weird. And the villain, the chick villain. Oh my God.
Chick villain. That was fun. Yes, I enjoyed that.
She's horrible. She was so good at being horrible. I was like, I am afraid of her. I'm legitimately afraid of her. Yeah. So yeah, I loved this movie in its way for what it is, even without any sort of smoke and magic. It's just it's a good movie.
Well, it is. It is definitely solid. And I think I'm the only one that's maybe has any real issue with it. And the issue actually comes after what you're talking about with Jena Malone. Once that's resolved, I don't know. Something happened and I didn't.
Interesting. Really?
I mean, the film makes sense and it's fine, but I just wanted a little bit more punch, right? And I don't know. I think from the look on Vanessa's face, it's just me. So Vanessa, tell me how wrong I am. Tell me how wrong I am. Oh, you?
No, honestly, no. I'm thinking more about what Crystal. No. I'm thinking more about what Crystal said with time displacement. Are you saying like supernatural time displacement? Because by the end of it, are we going spoilers? Before I go any further,
why don't we go spoilers from here on? It is available on Hulu. So you can watch this fairly easily, and we recommend, I think, straight out of the gate that you do.
Yes.
And then, but yeah, we've got to talk about the plot twist because it's the discussion of the film. So
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, because I haven't had anybody to talk to about this since I've watched it. No one else has seen it. So with the time displacement, do you think it's supernatural? Because by the end of it, I thought, they've just been kidnapped and they don't know where they are. By the end of it, I thought all kind of supernatural, anything magical was out the window. They had just been drugged or whatever, kidnapped and taken here and then didn't know what the hell was going on kind of thing.
Totally.
Okay.
When I say displacement, it just means something out of time. And that whole little... obviously, that whole little world was out of time.
Yep.
That was legitimate, and that's why obviously, the moment that was the only thing that I was not sure about whether it was going to be supernatural or not. But the moment that his cell phone rang,
Well, that was
I was like, oh, okay, so they're actually in the same world. And then
Yeah.
I actually even worked it all through because I'm like, okay, so if they had gone back, seriously, this is how I think. I'm like, could they have gotten a satellite up? It's possible that they could have gotten the energy, or they're actually still on the planet in the same time. And I was like, are they on an island? And then it did kind of start just making more sense. I was like, they have to be hidden in plain sight.
Well, he tried
Because
to
for them
convince
to-
her too, right? Like he
Yeah.
really played into it. Like that didn't happen. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like so. It's so much. It's almost so much harder though, because to take a modern day. Well, you knew that they were modern day women anyway. When the first girl comes, she's like, "You're from Virginia, right? I know who you are." So the way they were talking to each other was, you
She
knew
did.
there was more people.
Right,
coming
because
from-
I first, I'm sorry to interrupt, but first when I
No.
saw that the one girl that's from Virginia, I was like, wow, she's doing a really bad job of acting like she's in the past.
Oh,
But-
North Carolina, the girl from North Carolina.
yeah, the girl from North
Yeah.
Carolina, and I was like, wow, she's doing really. I like her, but she's doing a real. But then it made sense, and we're looking like,
But it was. That's why I'm saying it was obvious.
Right,
like
right,
she was
right.
modern.
but
But that's worse because us modern women, we fight. We're fighters. like, unfortunately.
And that's part of the kind of the twist is that the one woman, the lead, is in real life, in her life, she's an activist and a force to be reckoned with. So
She's also very smart, though.
yes,
She's smart.
yes. So that's what made it interesting. I think added an extra level to just the same kind of debasement and abuse that you would have had in the real time like that with people from the real time. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's
It does.
so hard to think back on that stuff, and then to put it forward into a modern time is even more so.
Yeah, I think back to movies like, Amistad and, 7 Years a Slave or what's 7? Oh my God, I always get that number wrong.
Oh, God.
12.
Yeah.
12, thank you. 12 Years a Slave. You think back to and the Roots, things like that show so honestly things that are a part of our history like this. And like I was saying, it's painful. And I too kind of avoid watching things like this, not to remain ignorant or anything, which I know is not our point, but because it's so difficult to know that's part of our history and to feel that and to see that other humans did that to each other, But I think that this film does a really great job of, I really enjoyed the modern, what people have come from, what they've come through in order to get where they are, to be successful, to be on top, to be forces to be reckoned with, after having been through something that, as I'm watching a movie like this, to myself, I'm like, just kill me. I could not do that. I could not live through something like that, but it just shows the strength and fortitude and will of people, and I think that was a big takeaway in this movie for me is the that spirit of endurance, to not give up no matter what you're faced with. And I think to me too, that made the ending such a amazing payoff. And I get what you're saying about the last few minutes, because that was an interesting choice, I think, that very end moment, but everything leading up to that was just awesome.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there was some things in the beginning that really I found interesting, including the end, and that made me suspicious because I didn't catch on right away. I mean, it took me a while. I think it was maybe halfway through the second act, I guess, if you break it up. But anyway,
I was at the cell phone whenever
the cell phone definitely had me solid there. But before then, with the back and some of the things, but they were picking, they're picking cotton, and then they burned all the cotton. It's like, why are they burning all the cotton? And then
I thought that too. I was so confused.
And the North Carolina girl, just didn't sound like she was from the past. And then she had the tattoo, and I said, I don't think they had that. There was like these little clues.
I love that you're like, I don't think they.
Not
No,
like-
they didn't.
like
They didn't even add
tattoos.
color. Yeah, they didn't even add color to tattoos. I mean, well, until
Right.
well,
So
the
it's like
1900s.
Crystal's like,
I mean, it's not like people don't tattoo, but it's not that prevalent. But anyway, so I was like, what's going on here? So that, my head was already kind of putting these pieces together. And then by the time we were in the car and characters were showing, and then I knew what was happening. And it was just like, this is crazy.
that music that's playing when they're in the car too, so disturbing.
Yeah, well, Jack
That is
Huston was
horrific.
really
That
a villain
whole
here.
thing was
Yeah,
truly horrifying to me. I'm like, that is terrifying.
Yeah. I wish we just spent more time with the other girls. I wish they were a little bit more
They were
involved.
so fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't want them involved.
No.
Horrible.
Not in that way.
I mean,
Not in that way.
Not
please.
that way, but you remember
I was
how
like, no more.
well, like in it's not Us, it's the other Get Out. How his friend was involved,
Yeah.
maybe something like that. If I
To the
would've-
rescue.
yeah, to the rescue. They were such great characters, and then
So when you say the final scene, are you talking about her on the horse? Yeah, I thought that was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, visually
I like
great,
that
but I get it. It's just like, well, anyway, it's just me. It was just a personal thing, but it didn't detract from the film. It just kind
Like
of
a warrior.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
But
Well, also that she wasn't just because she took care of one guy, she wasn't home free.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then once she broke through, that's when we got the visuals that were so cool, I thought. But it was great warrior. I think type
I
stuff.
love that. Yeah.
You know what? It reminded me a little bit, and this is totally, it doesn't really fit, but it kind of
Are you
reminded
going
me
to say
when Kevin.
Hunted?
No.
Okay, never mind.
I'm going to say Kevin Costner in. Shoot, my mind just went blank.
oh no,
The where he goes and lives with the Indians, the big
Oh. Dances with Wolves?
Yeah.
Dances with Wolves. It reminded me of the opening scene of that,
Did I
where
like
he's
that?
actually kind of trying to commit suicide, and he rides his horse across in front of all the gunfire and everything. I don't know why. Visually, I think it just reminded me of that.
It was a beautiful shot. I think the only part that kind of disappointed me was the very end with the cop cars and everything. I wish it would have been more like there. We would have seen more of her people, her family, her daughter. I think seeing them again after going through all that would have been very poignant. But everything else was awesome. Her on that horse.
I'm with you on that last sentence. Yeah. I mean, I love the visual. Don't get me wrong. But
Is that really how they reenact that stuff? Do they really have like these cannons and stuff? Is this
Yes. Welcome
It's
to
such
North
a-
Carolina. They do it here.
so weird? So weird. I don't understand it. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
I really don't. Like, and it's not even. I don't get it. It's super weird. Why?
But
Well,
so
I've never been to one, but they don't use live ammunition, right? I mean,
Oh well, no.
No.
And
I mean,
neither
they-
were
It's also
they.
like smoke bombs and
right.
stuff like that.
And they weren't here either, but not because the three that didn't follow her into the field. But anyway, the scene that really struck me the hardest is when the guy goes to clean the fire pit.
Oh,
That really struck
The
home for me.
husband?
Yeah, the husband, and he pulls the cross out of the ashes.
Yeah.
And I knew
Yeah.
that was going to come back, and it came back in a great way.
Mm.
The little what they call it? I forget what they called it. It was
The shed. I
Fire
think he
shed.
called it
The
the
burn
shed.
the burn shed. I think
Yeah.
they called it.
Yeah,
And it just made me think like
that was brutal.
yeah, it was like I was thinking like when we were in the first third of the film, it's like, man, how times haven't really changed because people are still sucky. People still
Yeah.
suck. They were bad then,
Yeah.
and they still suck.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and we didn't see
reinforces
this here,
that.
but it reminds you, Dave, for me anyway, it takes me back to where, the idea of how long ago would that be? 170 years ago, we were still selling slaves and separating families and pulling the children away and sending them off wherever. And now here we were, in this past couple of years, separating families and
Ugh, I know.
keeping them in cages again, under some weird ass justification. So it's painful. It's painful to be reminded of that stuff and just to be able to relate it to what's going on now.
Yeah, painful but necessary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't forget or just realize, like, hey, we're doing the same shit now.
Yeah. So, how would this film been received had it made it to the theaters? Is that a hard question to answer?
I don't know. I think I've heard mixed reviews about it. I don't know why particularly though, but
I saw
think
some mixed
people
reviews, but
expected
I
it
didn't
to
really.
be more horror filled. I think
Yeah.
people thought it was going to be more of like a horror movie, which
Like a Jordan Peele kind
it's
of.
really horrible. It's really horror to me. It's just more real life horror.
Yeah.
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 No, I definitely think that there's horror elements in here. It's just replace cannibals with something else, and this is what it is. So.
Yeah, without the fantastical, it's just real.
But I think the fantastical is what people were wanting, some kind of time travel-y kind of thing. Maybe
Yeah.
they were selling it. And
I
you kinda-
honestly haven't heard much about it, to be like thinking back on it too. I had to and I know, with COVID and everything and how it was released to to view at home and all that, but I really just I can't think of much that I've heard about it. And I expected a lot more. And even I wonder if now that it's, available for viewing on Hulu that we'll start to hear more about it. But seems like one of those movies that would get a lot of critical praise, right?
I would think so, but I have to be honest. I didn't even know it was on Hulu until Doc said.
Me
It's-
too.
Yeah.
What?
Me
It's
too.
not being advertised really well at all.
Yeah, I'm like, and this was one I definitely have been looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked. It didn't come up in any of my stuff, which is kind of shocking to me. I had no idea. And I was like, wait, it's on Hulu?
Yeah, and you had to search for it even.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That tells me something about my taste, I guess, because you go to Hulu and you're going, oh, Possessor just dropped on Hulu. That should be right in the new releases. Trending, whatever. No, it's not.
No,
I have to actually
I know.
search the darn thing.
Yeah.
So
It's
same
a
with
bit
this.
frustrating. Yeah, I mean, streaming
This is
such
a
thing.
big movie, though. Like,
Yeah.
Right, it should be.
HBO
right?
did the same thing with Lovecraft Country, though, when it dropped. Nobody could find it.
yeah.
It wasn't in the banner. Like, these streaming services are dropping the ball. And unfortunately, it's leading towards films that feature people of color or different ethnicities. And whether that is the case or not, I hate that it looks that way.
Mhm.
God,
Get your shit together, streaming services.
Get this shit together.
anything new should go to the front.
Right?
I can't, I don't know what's driving it, some kind of something, but this film definitely should be watched. I think it's an excellent film. I know I've been giving it some slack toward the end, but I don't know. I love the structure of it. I love the fact how it's not entirely linear.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it is telling a linear story, so it's really interesting. Because some
And
people
I
try to do
love her yoga. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
that. Do you?
I was like so freaking happy.
Well, that's what I was.
There's
Yes.
so much fun. There are some fun parts to it.
Yeah.
Even
Oh,
though
yeah.
it's so somber, even that is somber, but also kind of funny and awesome. I was like, fuck, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and how they some of that stuff come back around, like the yoga comes back into play later, and then the early on in there where she's somebody knocks at her shack door, and she's like trying to walk on boards that don't creak,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out why is she doing that. Well, you find out later why she's doing that. It's more or less
Mhm.
practice, right? To
Yeah.
try to find that spots.
Yeah, that was beginning to piss me off. It was funny. I was starting to get upset with that. Like, why do they keep doing that? This is silly. And then, then I was like, oh, okay, I like it now. All right, good. I like Dawn, her friend Dawn, played by Gabri Sidibe.
Oh, yeah.
Pronouncing that, yeah. Sidibe.
Is that the one that's an American Horror Story?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I love her.
And her
Precious.
Yes, Precious. Her reaction to the guy that came over and gave her the drink.
Yeah.
I love that
awesome.
whole thing.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
She was great. Yeah, she was great.
I mean, there was.
I love how she's like, but I mean, this can happen.
Yeah.
Might as well. Why not?
I mean, even when it came down to the table, right? We're not sitting here. We're going to sit over there. Thank you. And,
I know. And I can't tell you how many times. I mean, how many times I've been sat next to the kitchen, but I don't care. Not really. Yeah. I'm like, whatever. I'm not too good.
She was like, you don't get it. This isn't happening. But I just love those two. That whole dinner scene was I was really into that. I thought there was a lot going on there. And the way she was being treated in Louisiana was just at this hotel. It just it's like precursor to everything. So.
That's so I think that would have been something that could have been. I feel like the whole hotel was involved. Okay.
Well, the girl
but they
was there,
didn't.
Right?
They did. Well, the woman at the desk. What?
Yeah, she was very rude.
I mean, yeah, and she didn't have any turn down service. There was a lot of things. I feel
that woman. She switched the tag on her door, right?
Yeah, that was responsible. But the little girl in the elevator, so.
Yeah, she looked super.
She looked like a ghost. I know.
I know. I was thinking. I was wanting her to be a ghost, but
when she looked back down the hallway and the little girl was down the hallway, it was very like The Shining kind of moment.
Yep. There could have been even more there with that. They could have explored that a little bit more. What's going on there, but they had to get to the the car scene, which was really intense.
Yeah, it was. I wonder if them leaning away from the more fantastical horror or the more like comedic moments is to kind of separate themselves from the Jordan Peele films, to kind of set a different tone, set themselves aside from that, because the first thing you see at the top is from the producers of Get Out and Us, so they're already lumped into that for good or for bad. So just in my mind thinking, I'm curious to know if that was a consideration.
Forethought, yeah. Interesting. I mean,
I don't know. I think the subject matter is so hard. I think it could have been much darker.
Oh yeah.
And it gets pretty dark. I mean, the scene with who they just call him at first, when General comes in and first talks.
And I don't know, did we ever know he's a senator? Because that's what they say later. I mean, in the credits it says that.
There's a poster when she's in the car that is on the side of a wall of him for re-election.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only.
I heard him talk about the ballot boxes on the one phone call, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Jena Malone she's that whole fight scene was.
I loved it. I loved it. That was good. I was like, and it's like pink.
Yeah. What kind of woman are you? I was like, hey, yeah. What kind of woman is she?
Yeah, no joke. I think that was actually the hardest part for me.
Her betrayal?
That a woman would be involved in that in any way, shape. It just makes me sick.
Well, she said at one point.
She picked them all. It sounded like she was sort of the.
That's what I know. Yeah, she said at one point she picked them all except for you, Eden.
Yep.
My name is Veronica. Oh, I loved that so much. What a callback to the roots. That's just such a
keen day.
Yeah, such a strong moment. I love it. I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, it certainly does have a powerful message, and it does not shy away from ringing it really loudly. So, it's well worth the watch. Well worth the watch. Let's wrap this up and give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're still watching, we want to thank you for taking the time to join us here to review these films. If you want to help us out, it's really easy, and it's easy. Not only is it easy, it's free. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button or share with a friend. That helps us tremendously. If you want to get a little bit more involved, you can hit the like or dislike or leave some comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, let us know what you think of this film. And if you haven't seen it, you can watch it on Hulu, so check it out. We also want to take just a brief moment to thank our patrons at Patreon, who, without their help, we wouldn't be able to do the Gruesome Magazine show or the Horror News Radio, which Vanessa is a part of, and Decades of Horror, which Jeff is a part of, as is Crystal, and Heroes and Droids, which Vanessa, you are on me with that. So,
yes.
So there you go. We want to thank you guys so much. And there's some really cool stuff there, among which, and not limited to, is seeing Decades of Horror as early access before it is released. So, stuff. All right, let's do our final thoughts. Our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Vanessa, you are up first.
Well, if I haven't made it clear at this point, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was done really tastefully. I thought they show you things. The collar that the husband has on in the beginning of the movie with the bells broke my heart, and also I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
So shocked me, broke my heart, just all these things, and I think that's important. And I consider myself a woke person, but even as someone who is aware of the injustices in the world, it's still important, I think, to see those things and to see them from a different perspective, from different voices, from different points of view. I really, really liked the way they play the modern against this Civil War era. And one of the things that really stood out to me that I'm glad they focused on was the arrogance of the Confederate side, the manifest destiny in their arrogance. And as we all know, you're the losers, guys. You lost. So throughout the whole movie, just knowing that, gave me some peace as well. But I really enjoyed it. It's beautiful. The way it's shot is beautiful. There's some gorgeous scenes. There's some extraordinarily painful scenes. And then there's my favorite scene.
Yeah.
And my absolute favorite scene is a huge spoiler. So, I mean, we've done spoilers up until this point, but it is when Eden locks those guys in that burn shed and burns those jerks alive. That was and she's walking out with that torch. I tried to screenshot it. Hulu wouldn't let me. So apparently they know that people try to do that, because I wanted to share that scene because it's just so awesome after everything that she's been through. I mean, we even saw her get branded. Everything that she's been through, the hell of being separated from her whole everything, and in that moment, her fight's not over, but there's such a moment of relief in that, and it just was so awesome and powerful, and I loved it. And I was like, "You get them, girl." Oh, my score! Shh. Yeah, I know. I love it. I loved it. I loved it. They deserved it. I'm going to give this one a 5. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I really loved it. I think it's going to be, I'm surprised to hear it has mixed reviews. I hope now that it's more available on Hulu, and I think more eyes are going to be on it, that we're going to hear more about it. And I really think it deserves to be thought of in the canon of some of these movies that cover this subject matter, because I think it did it really well.
Excellent. All right, Jeff Mohr, you are up next, sir. What is your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene?
Well, I think for me, a lot of times it's how disturbing a movie is. And this is very disturbing, shining kind of a light of our past discretions on modern times even. I like this a lot. It's all around good acting, great cinematography. Man, there was some great shots in this. I don't know what Score. Oh. Well, I'm going to say 4.25.
4.25.
No, 4.5. 4.5.
4.5.
That was out. And my favorite scene is going to be when she gets into the battle with him in the shed in her shack, and I was like, she runs out the door with that sword, and I'm thinking,
I know, it was smart. It was so smart.
Mm-hmm.
It was an awesome. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Crystal, Cleveland, you are up next. Your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
So I totally think the quote that they show in the beginning, the past isn't dead, it isn't even the past, is so relevant. And I hate that I'm going to say this, but I do believe this. I totally believe some people would do this if they were given the freaking chance. And it disgusts me and it makes me sick. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think this is a must watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I don't, yeah, people are just horrible, sad. But just have, like your tissues there. But I totally think it's on Hulu, and you're all subscribed to Hulu, so definitely check it out. And I hope you enjoy it as much as we did. I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well.
Nice.
And it has to be for me the chick fight. It has to be because look. I'm sorry, but I have so much less tolerance for a woman who doesn't have sympathy than a man. I don't know why I shouldn't, but I just don't understand a woman. No, it's unacceptable. And so getting got was like, thank God, because that's pure evil. I don't disgusts me.
When she was walking towards that horse with the rope, I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I was like,
yeah. I was like,
God,
you're getting
finally.
it now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, what is wrong with you? Like,
it's a betrayal, a complete betrayal.
It is. And I'm like, I guess I'm just such a girl woman. I mean, I would freaking do anything to get a woman out of a situation like that, to help a woman like that. And I am just, I'm glad they had her though, because it did give me someone to really, I mean, I hated her, but just what?
Yeah.
Yes.
She was gross.
Yeah, she was.
She was. All right. Now it's my turn. Okay. I really enjoyed this film. I was looking forward to it. It was, we talked about it over a year ago, and I was very happy to finally get to watch it. It definitely has a lot of weight to it. You definitely are going to think about things. You're going to be disgusted how stupid and awful people are, because people are. And if you watch the news a few weeks back, as we're recording this, you'll know that people still are stupid and still are in that same frame of mind. And it's just awful. And, now we have the news about, all these violence against Asian people across the country. It's just like, what is wrong with people? What is it? Can't we all just get along, right? I think what they went after was very important to not have it. I mean, I like the fact that even though it felt like it was going to be this time displacement and a little bit more fantasy or fantastical, that the route they went just holds so much more weight and meaning, and is very powerful. It's gorgeous, like you said. There are some great shots in here. The shot at the burn house is one. When she's the scene that I question is a really well filmed shot. It's great. It should be there because of how wonderful it is, and she's running slow motion, and got the just all in, and it was it's riveting. Actually, it is. There's a lot of great shots like this in this film, and the way it focuses on certain characters, especially our lead, is really, really well done. I think these directors have a lot of talent, and I'm looking forward to see where they're going to go next.
Yeah.
As well as the cast. And even though Jack Huston is a despicable person in this, I really like him a lot. He's a fun actor. But he did a great job.
You can tell he kind of looks like he looks a little like Danny Huston. You see that resemblance there? I did anyway.
I didn't earlier, but now I'm going to see it everywhere. But so my favorite scene, I'm going to go with that dinner scene. Can I do it? I mean, it has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, I love it.
Other than just how much it, how powerful, that one, Gabby character was, her character Dawn was, she was just so much, confidence, and it was just a great character, and I really, really enjoyed that scene. And it has nothing. There's many other I could choose, and probably should have over that, but that was the one I had the most fun with and enjoyed. It's also needed because surrounding this, the levity is so, there's no levity, right? It's all, and so it's well placed, well timed, and earned and needed. So yay for that. I think we may have lost Crystal again.
No. Did you give us your score, Doc? I don't remember.
Oh, my score is 4 1/4.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully our Crystal will return shortly. She froze up again.
That's weird. She must be having some.
It's probably the internet provider, not her internet. Is
right.
Connection.
Right.
It happens sometimes, and that's the fun of us doing this live behind the scenes. So whatever happens stays in. So there you go.
You see
all right.
it.
Yeah, here she comes. She's back. Yay!
Yay!
Sorry.
Yay! No worries.
I can hear y'all too. It's like, I think we lost Crystal. I'm like, can you hear me? I'm like, no.
What's
don't do like me.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I don't know if y'all could tell. I was like, oh no. Like I said it so many times because all of a sudden y'all would stop moving and I'm like, oh no. But we're back. Okay, I made it. Oh no. Oh no, we're okay.
Oh no. All right, well there you go. There's our review for Antebellum. We went a little long. Thank you for sticking with us. Check it out on Hulu. It's available now. Let us know what you think of it down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Crystal, Jeff, as always, thank you for joining me. And Vanessa, it was great to have you back. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
It was so good to be back with y'all.
Yes, and I'm glad you finally got to see your most anticipated film of last year.
Me too. Me too.
And let's all
I'm sorry y'all didn't get to see it sooner. Wow.
Let's all hope this COVID nonsense is over soon.
Yeah.
And get back to whatever normal will be, right? So, all right. With that, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.